What's going on, guys? It's Tony with Urban Girl Scout Media, living the dream as always, and coming to you today to talk about small businesses and health crisis of the globe. Recently, a local small business in my area, probably about 3 weeks ago, announced that they were going out of business. Things outside of their control from everything that I've heard from them and from people in the community. I asked a lot of questions before I made this video. So it was outside of their control. They did not have any issues paying the bills. That was not the issue at all. And they were making enough money from what I've heard to afford their space. It was the new owners of the building, essentially, is what I'm hearing. Fast forward to a couple weeks after this announcement, and we get COVID-19. The great state of Illinois is shutting things down. And if you're non-essential, you're closed. Well, this place, along with a lot of other businesses, it's important to note that a lot of places did this as well. They stayed open until they're absolutely told, hey, no more. And I have a lot of mixed feelings here, guys. A lot of mixed feelings. I'm not going to name the business because I think if you do just a little bit of research, you can find it. But also, again, a lot of mixed feelings on this. So the owner, who you can like him or hate him, he has a good and a bad reputation within the community. But he did bring up a good point that they were already going out of business. They had been there for 10 years, just about, and he had a hard time. So I understood his struggle. I understood it. He put 10 years into this place, and everything fell apart on him within a month, basically, month to 2 months. Outside of his control on just about everything from what I've been able to gather. There could be more information out there, but at this point, I just want to make my thoughts on this. But then on the other side of this token, the world health scare is a lot bigger than a resale shop, essentially. Anything non-essential at this time needs to take this serious. So the health scare is bigger than that, guys. I mean, it really is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So imagine being in this spot, knowing that that's how you make your income, things like that. This is not an easy situation for these kinds of businesses. And that's why I've been so hesitant to even have an opinion on it, because like small business, so I work somewhere where I'm fortunate enough to be able to continue working. And even if I can't continue to go in person, I can start working from home. But even without it, there's great plans in place for us to get paid if we have to cut staff altogether. Small businesses do not get that. They don't get it right away, at least. So it's a tough balancing act. I also think people are just terrified right now, and anything that they can look to lash out at, they're going to now more than ever. And this was just one of those things. So I really don't know either way how I feel. Was it a bad idea to stay open? Yes. Could I have easily made, let me try again. Could I have made that decision quicker or easier? Not knowing the financial situation I'd be in, I'd have to be there. Like, that's one of those things I'd have to be there. I don't know. Like I said, it'd be really tough. So rather than blast the store, the people who are reportedly the ones who snitched, the health crisis or the community, I thought I'd just I had a couple of things here that I jotted down. First, we all have to remember, guys, no one's lived through anything like this, where they've had to essentially give up what's essential and non-essential immediately to a threat that we can't physically see. Let's be honest, first world people don't know how to sacrifice or panic properly. That's sort of the perk of living in the first world, is that you don't run into this very often. This is one of the most unprecedented things we'll ever live through. The last two events in my life that I can remember having gripped people with so much fear was the 2008 housing crash and 9/11. Those are the two other events in my lifetime, 30 plus years, that I can recall anything scaring and dividing people so much. It is very true. So my next point, it is very true that a game resale store, clothing store, a lot of places like that are not essential. But I think people at this time struggle with the idea of essential. We've never been through anything like this. So to the owners of the store, it's essential for them to be able to make money so they can go and buy supplies. And there's a lot of could he or could he not have done the online thing? I don't know. I really don't. Because again, there's a lot of information circulating in the community about this. And even when I talked to the owner and asked some questions, it was so mixed. Like there was a clear lack of respect, but also a clear amount of respect for what was going on. It was so mixed. Like it was really tough. And something that I always will believe is, to me personally, if a gas station has pay-at-the-pump capabilities right now, the inside shouldn't be open. Cigarettes, soda, candy, and chips are not that fucking important or essential. But that's just how I see it. I mean, that's just me. So the last piece I had, I guess the last thing I have here is, and I've kind of blended these 3 points into two, but, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't happy that they were forced to finally follow the state orders. They're in place for a reason. They really are, and ignoring them is wildly irresponsible. Plus, it's not fair to all the other small businesses that followed that rule. And again, you can go across the country and find people that are and are not following what has been put in place. This has nothing to do with the store itself. It has to do with what we as a community need to do to control the spread of a virus. This is one of those moments where if we as a society can make the correct steps, we can get through this incredibly fast. And if we do not, then we will continue to pay a huge price as a group. But I'd also be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed for the position they got put in. It was a store that I spent many years going to. I had good, bad, great, and terrible experiences there. There were certain people that worked there that I did not like. There were certain people that worked there that I did like. So it was just kind of all over the place. So all attempts to walk down the middle of the line aside here, to any non-essential business that is open right now, I think it says a lot about the owners and the operators. One of the people I talked to said they take the COVID-19 scare very serious, but they're also planning little gatherings at their location. I don't want to say what it is because thankfully I won't be going, but they were hosting gatherings of people, and one of them was going to be 20 plus people. So you can't tell your wife that you're going to be faithful and follow the rules and then go and cheat on her and expect no repercussions. And that's kind of the world we're living in right now. These are just a handful of stores that I know for a fact are flying under the radar the best they can and ignoring what's going on. And yes, it's selfish, short-sighted, it's arrogant of all those places to do that. It is not isolated to just a game store, guys. This is not isolated to just a game store. This is something that all of us have to follow. If people don't go into stores unnecessarily, which I have some people I know are just getting out and going to the local grocery store just so they can get out, that's irresponsible. That's arrogant. And shame on you. Shame on all the people that are not following these rules and taking them serious. Because here's how I see it. Here's how I see both the people who are ignoring the rules and the businesses that are ignoring the rules. The way I see it is that they believe they are smarter than what the CDC and government have put in place. And that's very, very, very unlikely to be true Because if they were smarter than the CDC or the government or all these doctors out there, would they be working in resale shops and non-essential stores, or would they be the people making decisions? It's more likely they'd be in charge if they were that smart. So, like I said, this is not focused at one store. It was a store that kind of inspired me to look deeper into this. There are a lot of places that are fighting the good fight to stay open because they have to make money to be able to buy personal necessities to live. So I don't know, guys. I mean, this is one of the most fucked up issues I think that we're ever going to see as a nation from this COVID-19 is how many people who have their own business and rely on that small business for their income don't have a ton of money in savings because, the margins are razor thin. How many of those people are just trying to stay open even though they're told not to so they can pay for groceries? Like that's kind of where I struggle, and that's why I will not go into these places unless I absolutely have to right now. I'm trying to follow the rules the best I can, but if I was in a spot where my income got turned off immediately, there's been times in my life where I likely would have risked my health during something like this to make sure that I had money. I would have continued to try and work. There's been times like that. So I just can't fathom the difficulty. I think it is selfish and arrogant, but not knowing the financial situation, it kind of brings me back down to earth a bit. So it's two-sided. And I thought instead of just blasting on one way or the other, I thought I would try and just do as much down the middle as possible and then go off on a tangent here at the end. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, am I overreacting? Am I underreacting? Are people ignoring these rules and restrictions and truly that's okay? Do you think that it's being blown out of place? Or do you think that it's arrogant and selfish for people to ignore them? I don't know. I mean, I know how I feel. I know how I'm concerned, and I know how I would like others to feel. But again, when you talk about a threat that you can't visibly see, and first world people just being so terrible at sacrifice and the good of the better man, like America, we talk about how it's this huge United States of America. It's the isolated States of America, not just because we're in quarantine. So, but there you go, guys. A little bit longer than I wanted this one to be. I really enjoy these talks, though. Kind of something to discuss while we're in this isolation. So, thank you guys so much. Everyone stay safe. My name is Tony K, Urban Girl Scout Media, continuing to live the dream as always.